So along came, some background story to EFT. This guy his name was Callahan. I forgot his first name. He was a therapist, and he was working with somebody who was really struggling with, and I'm missing half the story, so don't shoot me for it, but he was working with somebody who was just, I think it was in his house, and he was just had somebody he was working with, and they were really focused on this problem that she was working with. And then he left the room, went into the kitchen, if I remember right, got a drink or something. He came back, and her problem was just gone. And he, being a scientist, said, what did you just do? Tell me exactly what you did in the time that I was gone. And she said, well, and part of it involved tapping her face or scratching her face or doing something right here. And that tuned him into the acupuncture, the concept of acupuncture. And he played with it, and this evolved over a period of, it wasn't just an immediate thing, like months, years. And Gary Craig, the guy whose website I'll introduce you to, he was an engineer, and he learned about this, and he decided to investigate it fully, not believing it at all, but he saw some interesting things going on, and he kind of gave it structure, and they would test it on people until they figured out. I mean, I've seen this evolve just in the 8-10 years that I've been doing it. I've seen it evolve where people use different methods or versions of it, or people add or subtract parts to it. And I know that doesn't make any sense to you yet, but the point is it's still an evolving method, and there's no one right way that it's being done, and there's a consistent pattern that seems to work, that if you went online now and typed in EFT or emotional freedom technique or tapping, and you looked at the thousands of videos, they would all have the same kind of appearance. They would all be doing somewhat the same thing. But there's variations, kind of like yoga. There's all kinds of variations to yoga. But this has kind of a systematic process that I found works amazingly. So what you do with this, and I'll give you a handout that you can follow along with, but basically you find a problem. Okay, you start with a problem. Remember, we were talking later. Oh, I remember what I wanted to share with you. So the problem that we have now, the therapists believe it's from a trauma in the past, right? We went through this. EFT says, and I think a lot of the therapies that are energetic in nature say the problem isn't necessarily caused by this, but it's more caused by a disruption in the body's energy system. So in this case, it's the meridians, the flowing meridians. This is the cause of this problem. Now, you don't have to know that. In psychotherapy, they send you back and they try to find the problem and then relive it or talk through it or whatever. In EFT, you don't have to know the cause. All you have to do is have an awareness of the problem. And so I just want to say this doesn't matter. How this happened doesn't matter either. All that matters is that you're aware of a problem.